Cheap Card Gamer is brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's completely free. They have included all the creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor does the work of distributing your podcast for you so that it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much every podcasting service out there. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome, card gamers. Today I'm going to tell you my thoughts on a product that I use to play retro games. It's called Bittboy Pocketgo. I'm going to give you my review of that product. Spoiler alert, I think is absolutely awesome. But a couple things I want to tell you first. I recently did an episode about my thoughts on emulation and why I think downloading and playing ROMs of older games specifically should be legal. I wanted to give a little bit of clarification to that. So first of all, the reason I'm doing this review of this product is because this is the product that I use to play retro games on. So I wanted to let you guys know about it just in case anybody wasn't aware. When I started looking at this Bittboy Pocketgo, I had trouble finding a lot of information out there, so I thought it might be helpful to do an episode about this. But a couple things I wanted to say first. One is that I should have clarified, and I don't know that I said this in the episode, that emulation is technically legal in the essence of games that you already otherwise own to play electronically on an emulation format is technically legal. Now, once we start to talk about downloading games that you don't otherwise own in some way, that is where I believe the legality comes in. I'm not a legal expert, but I just wanted to say that. On the other end of that, I am not giving anyone permission. I just want to throw this out there. I'm not giving anyone permission. Surely you don't hear me say that I think it should be fine. That's not a legal excuse for doing something. Now, I don't think anybody's going to come after you, but I just wanted to toss that out there. I don't care. I'm a cheapskate. I want to save money, and that's really how a lot of this comes down to. Anyway, back to Bittboy Pocketgo. I think it's an awesome little device. It comes with, it looks like a Game Boy Advance. If you remember the original generation of Game Boy Advance, it looks like that machine, not the ones that you flip up. That's the SP, but the one that's open face. It looks like that device, although it's about half the size. It's closer in size to a Game Boy Micro, if you remember those. But anyway, Bittboy Pocketgo comes with emulator software built in to play ROMs of NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy Advance. Emulator is on there. There's even stuff like Lynx and Neo Geo. They advertise as well being able to play PS1 games with a software built in. However, with the emulator built in. However, in my experience, a lot of the PS1 games don't really work very well. And so I would not just know what you're getting into with that. I did try to play Castlevania Symphony of the Night on there and from PS1, and that didn't really work. So I'm sure there are some workarounds, but just to let you know what came out of the box, I was not able to do that with. However, I still think it's a wonderful device, and I'm going to tell you exactly why that is. What I got, which the price for the product, and I'll include a link to their website in the episode description here because it's kind of unclear who the company is you're buying it from, or at least to me it was. Don't let that scare you away from the product. I know you hear that and be like, oh man, this doesn't sound reputable at all. I had a really good experience. So I'll tell you what it is and I'll give you a link in the episode description. But what I came with the unit itself, the hardware, the charger, a micro SD card to download all the ROMs for games that you could possibly want. I think it was either 8 gig or 16 gig, which is more than enough when we're talking about the file size for like Game Boy games and even Super Nintendo games is hardly anything. And it also came with a carrying case. All of that for around $40. Guys, I'm a cheapskate, But if you do any retro gaming at all, you know that $40 to play essentially an endless amount of old games is a steal. It really is a steal. Well, literally, it might be a steal. Uh, that is a fantastic deal between me and you. Tell you what, I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Bittboy Pocketgo, and I'll give my formal review in just a second. All right, I am talking about Bittboy Pocketgo, this little handheld gaming device. It's an emulation device, and I want to tell you some things that I like and don't like. First, you should know that the unit is small and surprisingly lightweight. I would say it's somewhere around maybe 4 inches in length. It's, as I said earlier, it's about the size of a Game Boy Micro, maybe a little bit bigger than that, but about half the size of the original Game Boy Advance, if you remember that. I will say that it's it's very lightweight to your touch. I know some people won't like that. You like a sturdier feel, but it's super lightweight. Now, because of that, carrying it around in your pocket is very easy and doesn't bother you at all. You don't feel all the time like, oh, I have something in my pocket like you do with a DS or whatever. The hardware, the physical hardware is, for me, surprisingly well built considering the price. The screen is very bright. You can adjust the brightness. There's different settings you can set it to. I like playing with a bright screen. But if you want to conserve battery or whatever, I will say the battery life is really good. So you don't really need to conserve the battery life. The sound is fine, but, the battery life, I'll say this, I have never needed to stop playing to charge. You just plug it in. They include a little USB charger that you can plug into, and I think it's a micro on the other end. I would say you at least get 10 hours on a full battery, and probably, I know that may be different depending on what games you're playing, but no matter what I've played, I have never, usually I can play it for a couple of days before I even need to charge again. And there's a little battery indicator on the home menu that shows you how much is left. And I've noticed it to be pretty accurate, but I've never needed to stop playing because of low battery or much less had the game cut off. So I can't give you a completely accurate estimate on that just because I've never run into the problem. So what that means is the battery life is really good. The buttons have a good feel to them. They're I would say they're clicky. It does feel like a kind of an original GBA type feel. It's a little bit smaller, so I have small hands. So I kind of like that. That feels good to me. I know if you have bigger hands, I know some people will say, man, it's too small. It's kind of uncomfortable, cramps your hand to play. So just be aware of that. There are other similar products, and I think that even the manufacturer makes different one. Like the original Bittboy is a little bit larger. So if you do want that type of feel, there's other stuff out there for that. But I like the smaller feel, so that's why I went with one reason I went with this. The user interface is mostly navigating menus, just like you would do with any emulation device. It's very easy to load ROMs onto the micro SD card. All I did was plug that into my laptop, download, move the files over to the SD card, eject the SD, put it into the Bittboy Pocketgo, and then you just pull up whatever emulator. So if it's the Game Boy emulator, and then you have your list of games, and then you choose what you want. It's just like any other device. It's really easy to use. Now it's not, it takes a little bit more time investment. If you never used a device like that, it takes a little bit more than like if you're playing a Game Boy Advance, for example. You just plug in your cartridge and then you start the game up, and that's it. And if you save your game, it saves to the cartridge. Well, here, if you're not familiar with an emulation device, there's save states, and you can load save states. So you access any game, that's pretty much the file. You're bringing up the file that includes everything in the game. And then you can save to I guess you're saving to the SD card. And it's going to save your progress in the game. So it's not like in Pokemon where you bring up the menu and say save, and then next time I come into Pokemon and I hit continue game, that's not going to work on the emulator. You have to load your save state from the software. It sounds crazy, but once you see it, and if you have any experience with it, it's just same as any other emulator. But if you don't, it's not that hard. When you see it, it'll make sense. But anyway, it's easy to do that. Bottom line, for Bittboy Pocketgo, I highly recommend it. For $40, it is an absolute steal. You will save. If you play a lot of older games and maybe you want to play something that's harder to find or Japanese only or anything like that, you will literally save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars with this little piece of equipment. There are other similar ones out there, so do your research. But like I say, I'm going to provide the link for this product in the episode description. For $40, heck, guys, it's easily replaced if you even needed to. If you do, drop it and break it or whatever, it's not a big deal. You can just go get another one for $40. It's not that bad of a hit compared to a lot of other devices. So if you want to play lots of retro games without spending tons of time and money, get this. Absolutely. I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. It is absolutely fantastic. I've been playing some older card games that are a little bit harder to access, like Monster Rancher, Card Battle, and stuff like that. Man, otherwise I'm going to have to pull out my old school Game Boy, go on eBay, find a copy of that, probably pay like $10. Here, I just download it, try it. I don't even know if I like the game or not, but I'm starting playing it. It's a breeze, and it's absolutely one of my favorite devices. So, what emulation device do you use to play old games? Do you use emulation to play older games? Tweet me at CheapCardGamer1. Let me know what device you like to use, or if you say, no, I don't do that emulate. I like to play the original. That is how I like to play it, is on the original hardware and get the genuine experience. So let me know at CheapCardGamer1 on Twitter. Thank you guys for listening. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.